Are you gonna be my assistant? Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So on this channel, I speak a lot about purchasing clothing, what I think about clothing, purchasing accessories, but I wanted to do a video about taking care of my clothing and accessories because honestly, I think this is so important. I can't tell you how many garments I've ruined because of how I washed it, dried it, stored it. Yeah, I just look back and I wish that I would have followed sort of all of the things I'm about to go through in a lot more of a regimented way because honestly, it's great to have new clothes, but at the end of the day, especially if you're investing a lot of money into your pieces, you want to have them for really long periods of time and you don't want them to look worn out. If you have a really high quality item of clothing, so say like a Gucci loafer or something, but it looks completely beat up, just downgrades it pretty much instantly. Tip number one, get your leathers taken care of, get your leathers upgraded at least once a season, especially if you're walking a lot and wearing your shoes over and over and over again. At the end of every season, something that I've started doing is taking inventory of my shoes and really looking at them and thinking, okay, which ones are worn out? You know, what have I worn a lot over the summer? And I take them to a cobbler and I get them resold if they need to, which honestly, they usually always need to. And if I don't have inserts, I make sure that they have inserts so that the leather is nicely shaped and that they're well taken care of. I promise you, having a good cobbler, I know it sounds like a thing of the past, but they can transform a pair of shoes. I've even done this with shoes because you guys know that I like to shop on the RealReal a lot. If I buy a pair of shoes secondhand, and maybe I buy them a little more beat up, you know, maybe the condition's not so good, I will take them to the cobbler. They will make them look like brand new. It's so important to take care of your shoes and to not let them get beat up season after season. And I like doing it right after a particular season, especially like winter, that is very hard on shoes, especially in a place like New York where you might be walking a lot. Because honestly, if I don't tie it to some type of timeline or reason, I just won't do it. So knowing that I might be putting some of these in storage, even though to be honest, I keep my Gucci loafers out year round, I just want to make sure that I at least once a year assess my shoes, see if any of them need repairs, and then taking them to the cobbler. I'll give you an example. I just took my beloved Gucci loafers to the cobbler. I have this really great wooden insert that they provided for me that I did purchase, and it really just helps shape out the shoe. As you can see here, the leather starts to get quite soft and a bit saggy, so when it doesn't have that insert, the shoe definitely does lose its shape. And then they also resoled the bottom here. And the reason that was important is because the sole was starting to wear in the front, and so it was getting very scuffed up. Hopefully you can see that. This camera is pretty incredible in terms of zooming in on things, but yeah, basically it was getting really scuffed up, really worn out. So they were able to sort of stop that from happening by putting something on there, I'm not really sure, but also by building up the sole again. So truthfully, of course, then they polish it and care for the leather as well. And then they have this insert. You don't need to buy this from a cobbler necessarily. You can get these on Amazon. I will leave some links below, but it makes such a difference to just have your shoes at least once a year upgraded, maintained, given a little love, and taken care of. Here's an example of a different insert. So this one you can use for like high-heeled pumps or shoes as well, but it just slides in really nicely to my Gucci loafers as well to keep them out. And I also got these resold because again, I just wear them so much. They were worn down in the front and they were causing scuffing on the front of the shoe, which is no good because I honestly want to wear these shoes for the next 30 years. So I really, want to make sure that they're always taken care of. Additionally, make sure that if you do go to the cobbler, they're used to dealing with more luxury products. And so he has a whole thing of, I don't even know what you call this, soles that match with specific brands, but just make sure that when you are getting your shoes resold, maybe just to be careful and request that you would like something that is going to match better and blend and just be really seamless on the bottom of the shoe. Tip number 2 is adjacent in the sense that it's about storing your clothes, whether that be in actual storage or just having items in your closet. So because again, I live in New York, I do actually swap out my whole wardrobe for the most part and put half of it in storage, like my big bulky coats, sweaters, things that I won't be wearing in the spring and summer months. I put them in storage. My coats in particular, I always make sure that I have garment bags on them, and then I fold them and put them into bins. This just protects, especially my really high-end coats like my Totem camel coat, or I have my Max Mara coat. It just protects the different fabrics from touching one another, from any bugs or insects or anything getting into them, God forbid. So yeah, definitely put things into garment bags. This is a big tip though, that in terms of storage and handbags. I've talked about this actually in my last handbag video, but making sure in general that just like your leather shoes, you want your leather handbags, and it doesn't even need to be, a luxury handbag by any means. It can just be a really nice real leather handbag that does tend to lose its shape over time. Just making sure that it's filled in some way. This could be as easy as stuffing old t-shirts or something in there. I do really love this brand that I purchased. They make inserts specifically for luxury brands, especially Hermes. They're called 7RP. She actually worked at Hermes for like 20 years. They're definitely on the expensive side, so if you want a really high-end insert, then this is a great way to go, especially for Hermes bags and things like that. But there's so many different options on Etsy and just all over the internet. You just Google like bag inserts and you will find one, but it just helps keep the bag filled out so that your leather isn't losing its shape over time. I mean, we spend so much money, and even when you're carrying it, like that's the other thing I do like about this particular bag insert versus like stuffing it with t-shirts or something, is that this I actually leave in the bag. So when I go take it out and about in the town, not only is the inside of the bag protected because I'm putting all of my stuff into the actual holder, but it's still maintaining the shape of the bag even while I'm wearing it out. So that has been absolutely fantastic. It is an extra cost, but honestly, when you're already spending so much on a bag, it's worth it to maintain it and to just make sure that it's gonna live a long and happy life. So my next one, it seems very common sense, but maybe it's just me, but I didn't do a lot of these things for a long time, and this is how I ruined a lot of clothing. So the first thing I would recommend is, especially more so in America, I feel like we have very harsh detergents like Tide, and I'm sure they're really great at fighting and removing stains, but washing all of your clothes in these very harsh detergents, it really does wear and tear them over time. So just using a, no fragrance, more natural, gentle detergent, I think is really helpful in not breaking down the fibers of your clothes. But washing your clothes on delicate. I tend to always wash my clothes on delicate, so the cold, delicate wool cycle, unless it's something like a towel, or I honestly even wash my sheets on delicate. It's just much gentler on the clothing. And then honestly, the thing that I think makes the biggest difference, which again sounds very straightforward and very simple, but I have found in America, it's not as common, hanging your clothes to dry, not putting clothing in the dryer. Oh my gosh, the dryer kills your clothing. It is just a very harsh environment. Again, I pretty much only put towels, maybe some like workout t-shirts or something in the dryer at this point. I have I don't know what you call it, I guess you call it a clothing rack. Some people call it a clothes horse, but a clothing rack where I can lay everything out. It's not as convenient. You do have to plan ahead to know, okay, I'm gonna do laundry on this date if I want everything to be dry and ready by this time. But honestly, it makes such a difference. It's probably been one of the biggest things in terms of taking care of my clothes, is just not putting things in the dryer. The next sort of more common sense rule that I also haven't followed over time is really treating your silks and your wools like cashmere with so much care by hand washing them. What I do is we'll have a big old cashmere wash day at our house, and we will gather all the cashmere, same color of course, so say all black, all gray, whatever, and we will soak them in a very gentle wool specific detergent in a big bin, let them get all the dirt, get all the grime out, soak for a long time, rinse them so gently in a very, very cold water, pat them dry, and actually sort of lay them out on like a towel to dry. And that has been such a game changer in terms of taking care of my wool. Also doing this for silk, unless it specifically says washable silk, which most things don't, even though I will say Quince does a really good job of having washable silk sets that I love, but most silks are not washable. Yes, if you put them in the wash, which I have done. I have ruined multiple pairs of silk pajamas because I thought, wash them on cold, wash them on delicate, like it's fine. It wasn't fine, and money down the drain, not good for the environment. Just, it's worth putting in that little extra step and hand washing your silks and your wools. So yes, again, I know it's really straightforward, and I'm sure all you guys probably already do this, but I know that I hadn't over time, especially in terms of air drying your clothes. Again, I don't know why as Americans it's just more common for us to throw things in the dryer, but it really, really is not good for our clothing. So the final thing that I think is just such a game changer, and I can't believe I haven't had one of these my entire adult life, it is this. So you might be thinking, what the heck is this? I actually don't know the proper name for this, but I call it a depiller. So if you know what pills are on a sweater, not just sweaters actually, any kind of fabric that sort of ages and wears over time, where the fibers come away from it and you get these little balls or these little pills. Looks raggedy, looks worn out, just, it's not a good look. It happens to our couch, it happens to our cashmere sweaters. That's usually one of the most common fibers to pill like that because they are so fragile. So having a depiller made all of my sweaters look brand new, completely brand new. You can use it on sweaters, blankets. Again, I even use this on my couch. I don't know why it pills so much. I don't even know what kind of fabric it is, but you can use it on so many things. It's a very gentle razor kind of underneath. I mean, you know how guys have the razors, I guess, but it basically does that. It is perfectly gentle enough to use on your cashmere. And I will also say it's extremely meditative to just gently go back and forth over your cashmere, and it basically takes off all of these pills and it will make it look brand new. Again, you can spend so much money. I don't even know how much this set was, probably $500 honestly, from Naked Cashmere, hoodie and beautiful cashmere pants, and they were covered in pills because very high quality cashmere will pill more so than cashmere blends. It's the opposite of what you think. Doesn't mean it's not low quality, it actually means it's higher quality. My friend who works in fashion told me that. So having a depiller, it just brings it back to life. And now that I've had a depiller, I see pills everywhere on people. Even my sister, I saw her the other day and she had on this gorgeous camel cashmere sweater and it just had pills all over it. And I just wanted to get in there so badly because honestly, it just elevates your knits and it will make it look brand new. Also, it doesn't have to be cashmere. I have plenty of sweaters from H&M and Zara that are polyester, cotton, who knows what blends, and I've also used it on those. So it does certainly work for all kinds of fabrics. This depiller in particular is from Steamery, which is a brand I absolutely love. They make, I am lost for words today. They make steamers, of course, Steamery, but they also make this. They just make really like chic looking products. You can get this in all different kinds of colors, but one complaint that I did have about this, which I think is why they came out with the second generation one, is that it does fill quite fast because it's pretty small. The battery and everything really take up most of this. It just has like a really small container in here. So you have to empty it out a lot. Really just one container will maybe do a whole or a half sweater. I don't even know if you can do a whole sweater, to be honest, but it was annoying basically how much you had to empty it out. So they did come out with a second generation one that has a larger compartment, which I think is fantastic. So I don't even think you can buy this particular one anymore, but I will link the larger one down below. If you take away anything from this video, it is get a depiller. Oh my gosh, this has made the biggest difference, especially for my sweaters. So yeah, I hope this video was helpful. I know it was a little different from what I normally do, but I truly do think that taking care of our clothes, extending the lives of especially our luxury goods, is just so important. And like I said, I've learned from my mistakes and I've made many mistakes when it comes to ruining clothes. So just thought I would pass along these tips and hopefully you found them helpful. And I will see you all in my next video.